Well, it's Christmas Day, but I promised I would do part two of learning to ski. So let me do that just before I head out for a little cross country skiing on my own. In part one, we talked about driving skills, or the lack thereof. We talked about who to take lessons from and how to master, or not, rope tows and T-bars to get you up the hill. The last words I said were, the only reasonable explanation for the existence of T-bars is to prepare you psychologically for the chairlift. Well, let's get to it. Let's presume for the moment that you have managed, with the assistance of your instructor, the lift attendants, your seatmates, and the grace of God, to get onto a chairlift. While you are wrapped about the cold steel bar with both hands and one leg, watching the trees grow infinitely smaller beneath you, it will dawn upon you that, terrifying as the ride up is, at some point you are going to have to, hopefully gracefully, disembark. So as the chair comes to an all too brief inch or two of level ground at the top of the hill, you will confidently launch yourself forward, place your skis together, and realize that all chairlifts terminate in life-threatening precipices. There is no way to get off the chairlift without falling. Your only hope is to take your seatmates, the lift attendants, and as many innocent bystanders as possible down with you when you fall. That way you can't be seen inside the muddle, so when your erstwhile friends show the photographs, you can claim, hey, I was on a beach in Brazil at that time, that's somebody else. Oh, by the way, there are two other modes of uphill transportation we should mention. They are known as gondolas and cable cars, but we're not ready for those yet. Suffice it to say, you should just never get into either of these contraptions unless you have an oxygen mask, a parachute, and a death wish. Whether you have mastered the chairlift or not, in order to earn another death-defying ride back up, you must now shoosh away down the slopes. Let me provide one final caution before you do, however. There are obstacles you might encounter on the way down. They can be grouped into three broad categories: trees, other skiers, and automobiles. Trees at ski resorts are really but one of many inanimate objects you might encounter off-piste. A piste, by the way, is just a fancy French name for a ski run. You'll know when you are off-piste because if you run over or into one of those stationary objects, you will be what we in the ski business like to call, technically, really pissed off. Oh, according to reports from beginning skiers and boarders, on a perfectly barren slope, for no apparent reason, very large, very hard trees located a half-mile away will suddenly swoop directly into your path. Some research attribute this to trees' natural playfulness. They liken it to the behavior exhibited by dolphins with swimmers. Others believe the trees are attracted by certain colors, though we know not what they are, and become easily confused. Forewarned is forearmed. Other skiers pose a great threat simply because there are so many of them. Now, as long as they are all moving, they are less dangerous. Some skiers, however, will stop directly in your path to perform such exciting maneuvers as the total body collapse, the one ski crossed over the left elbow takedown, and the ever popular head plant. Still others will be stopped in their tracks, praying in place. By the way, ski etiquette suggests that you avoid crashing into any skiers dressed in black who are kneeling over other skiers administering last rites. The final hazard on the slopes are automobiles. Of course, the automobiles are not actually on the slopes, but in the parking lots. This, however, will not deter the determined beginning skier, also known as kamikazes, who will careen faster than a speeding locomotive down the slopes, carrying with them 3 to 4 trees, a half dozen skiers, and if they're very good, at least one priest. They will smash directly through the restaurant terrace, picking up along the way one cook, 3 illegal aliens, and a cauldron of the soup of the day. They will then hurtle toward the parking lot at roughly 4 times the speed of sound. Regrettably, some skiers and snowboarders drive cars so small they must, by federal law, carry a warning tag riveted to the front fender which says, "Postage guaranteed. If found, drop in any mailbox." Now, the mark of a truly promising beginning skier is to take out, along with his entourage, at least 10 such vehicles. To do this is to have skied what we call a perfect 300 game with no spares and no open frames. This allows you to have your name emblazoned on the backs of the ski resort's bowling shirts. You think they go bowling? You don't think they go skiing, do you? But look, this concludes our formal remarks for your first day skiing. Now, what follows is your final examination to make sure you really understand the sport. Question number 1. T-bars are good for A, keeping you from getting too cocky, B, birth control, or C, breakfast. Answer. Actually, T-bars is short for TEA bars, places where teetotalers can meet after a hard day's skiing. Since you have to be either crazy or drunk to ski, T-bars are really not very popular places. Question number 2. The style of skiing most favored by beginners is the wedge, also called the pizza, a stem Christie, or Christine Brinkley. Answer: none of the above. Ski instructors will try to teach the wedge, the Christie, the parallel, etc. The style most favored by beginners, however, is the drowning person encountering a spinning propeller while sinking beneath the waves. Question number 3. The only place more crowded than a weekend lift line at a major ski resort is A, weekend lift line at another ski resort, B, the Santa Ana Freeway on Friday at 5:15 after an accident, or C, the orthopedics clinic at the nearest public hospital to the resort. Clearly you did not pay attention in part number 1 of this discussion. The answer is that point in Missouri where backward-moving beginning skiers from both sides of the continent smash into each other. There's hope yet. Question number 4. What is the meaning of the average temperature and inches of snow you hear when you call a ski resort snow condition report? A. Inches of snow is compiled by scooping up all the snow they can find on their resort and collecting it in one place, then measuring. The temperature is computed by racing to the base of the property and standing next to the warming fire in the lodge. B. They reflect yearly averages for temperature and historical averages for inches of snow, including, yes, June and July. C. The two are just put backwards. Answer: snow condition reports bear no relationship whatsoever to reality. Gag writers on sabbatical from Saturday Night Live make up all ski reports. Here's your last chance. Question number 5. The most popular evening activities at a ski resort are A. Frolicking with members of your favorite sex, B. Trying to regain feeling in any part of your anatomy which accompanied you to the slopes, C. Mating with fast-moving trees. Answer: I'm sorry, none of those are correct. No matter what ski resort operators try to tell you, well, they advertise their ski packages, there are really only 2 serious après-ski activities. One is trying to get out of your boots, or concluding it's just a lot easier to sleep in them, and 2, falling asleep during dinner, even if dinner takes place at 5 o'clock. Okay. There may be certain parts of this story that are a little bit exaggerated, so I must be serious just for a moment. I ski patrolled for 17 years. And while I saw some funny things, most reported here, and some genuinely stupid things, I can assure you that everyone who wants to learn to ski or snowboard does so, are most have often having fun and skiing or boarding on their very first day without problems. So, on this Christmas Day, it's time for me to head out and get back in the snow. Don't be put off by anything you hear. It's never too late to learn to ski or board, and I guarantee that most of the time you'll have a great time. Merry Christmas, and of course, happy shooshing.